यथा भूवैर्यो अथारतुष अशार्चिथचा वंगेऊष दस्दामनेंगो शौतेननाम अंगेऊष्मजाय शक्रें चा औराय आईं लेगुभ्यो अदत्वास्तारें यथा अहुवैर्यो अथारतुष अशार्चिथचा वंगेऊष दस्दामनिंगो शौतेननाम अंगेऊष्मजाय शक्रें चा औराय आईं लेगुभ्यो तदत्वस्तारें अशेम बहु वैष्णेमस्ति पुष्टा अस्ति पुष्टा अम्माय यत् अशाय वैष्टाय अशेम अशाओ नाम वंगोहिश सुराओ स्पेंताओ प्रवशियो यजमैदे अशाओ नाम वंगोहिश सुराओ स्पेंताओ प्रवशियो यजमैदे अशाओ नाम वंगोहिश सुराओ स्पेंताओ प्रवशयो यजमैदे अशेम वहु वैष्णेमस्ति पुष्टा अस्ति पुष्टा अम्माय यत् अशाय वैष्टाय अशेम। अशो फरोहरोने ने अशो रवानोने याद करी ए लोकोना आशीष मागी आपुने तंदुरुस्ती ने सुखाकारी मळे ते दुआथी आजनो दिवस शरू करिए। अथ जम्या देता आफरीना। And my apologies that today's day, a very big day for us, Farwadin Mahino and Farwadin Roj. We did, myself, Roxanne, Darius, we did think about even changing it for some time. But then we realized that the next week would be worse with the coming and going of the Ganpati Ji's idols. So finally we decided that I time is a bit okay, 11 થી 1. કારણ કે બનવાનું પછીથી થાય generally ડુંગરવાડી પર તેની અગાઉ બી બની શકાય. And this day we thought of taking up the topic of life and death. So આજનો દિવસ ઘણો જ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ છે because આપણે બધા અશોક સરોવરોને યાદ કરીએ છીએ ને અશોક સરોવરોને જનરલી આપણે ગુજરેલાઓ સાથે એસોસિએટ કરીએ છીએ, which is not true and right. Today is the day to thank all the Fravashis for all the things that they do for us. The Fravashis of the nature, the Fravashis of the divine beings, the Fravashis of the universe, and of course the Fravashis of the dear departed ones. So that is a part of the whole thing. But જ્યારે આપણે ફરવર્ડિન મહિનો ફરવર્ડિન રોજે કે ફરવર્ડે ગાનના આપણા મુક્તાજના દિવસોમાં અશોક સરોવરોને યાદ કરીએ જ, our idea and concept should be much larger than just remembering our own dear departed ones. That is a small part of it. But the larger thing is we have to express our gratitude to all the Fravashis. કારણ કે આપણે ફરવર્ડિન યશમાં જોઈ ગયા તેમ અશોક સરોવર તો દરેક ચીજના હોય છે, ધરતીના, આકાશના, પહાડોના, ઝાડના, નદીના, દરેક ચીજના અશોક સરોવર હોય છે. Even the good animals. So તેથી આપણે we consider this as a day for remembering the souls, as also for expressing our gratitude to the Fravashis. હવે what we are going to do today is something very important because life and its corollary death are something that we have to deal with. I will be an advocate today. My law books will be the Zoroastrian texts. You will be the judge and the jury. So you have to decide what I am saying, how much worth is there in this, because we all have our preconceived notions about life and death. Sometimes they may be according to our religion. Sometimes they may not be according to our religion. But something which is a part of our belief system, our thought process, our fabric, right since childhood, it is very difficult to change it overnight or because somebody has told you. મમ્માએ કંઈ કહેલું હોય, પપ્પાએ કંઈ કહેલું હોય, નલ્લા અવતારે કોઈ દસ્તુરજીએ કંઈ કહેલું હોય ને તમોને પછી લાગે કે આઈ ને આઈ તો શું જુદું જુદું છે. So that's why I'm saying I'll be putting forward, and if you think that something of this is not what you feel or think, then you have to consciously decide whether you are convinced or not. આજે બે ત્રણ જણે મને કહ્યું કે we are very happy you are going to speak about death. And I said, yes, I'm going to speak about death, but I'm also going to speak about life. Because most of us are so worried about death and what will happen afterwards that we forget how to live. At that moment, I had an analogy in mind because, thank you, because many of you are ladies and today even gents cook. So, તમે જ્યારે રાંધો ત્યારે તમે તમારું ટોટલ અટેન્શન ફોકસ રાંધવા પર હોવું જોઈએ. તમે વિચાર કરો, અરે રાંધીને પછી કેવું લાગશે બધાને, અરે રાંધવામાં ધ્યાન આપો નહીં. તમે રાંધવામાં જ ધ્યાન નહીં આપશો, શું મસાલો નાખો છે, કેટલો વખત ચૂલા પર છે, કેટલો વખત ફેરવવાનું છે, તેની પર ધ્યાન નહીં આપશો તો તમારા ભોના પર તો અસર થવાની જ છે ને રિમાર્ક તેની ઉપર પછી થશે કે હા ટેસ્ટી હતું, સજ્જું હતું, સો ગુડ, સો નાઇસ. એ તો જુઠ્ઠે બી આપણને કેવું જ પડે, બહુ સજ્જું પણ તે મનમાં આપણે કહીએ કે અરે શું તું આ ખાવ ખારું, સાવ મોરું, સાવ તીખું. પણ all that reaction comes, then it is too late. It's over and done. The food is on the table. So that's what life and death is. You are cooking just now. So concentrate on the cooking. Then the dish will be presented to you on Charamni Bamdan. This is what you have cooked in your life. Sorry. We can't now alter it. You have to eat it. Ne તેથી આપણા ગાથામાં બી, in our gathas also, one of the analogies of bad deeds is bad food. Dush khoretha. And then it started making sense that why they are saying bad deeds ne bad food. કે તમને ખરાબ ખાવાનું ખાવું પડશે, dush khoretha, bad food. So now you can put things into perspective. So half the time we'll be talking about life and how to live it, and half the time we'll be talking about knowledge and information about death. Now, what is the Avastha word for life? The Avastha word for life is Ahu. Ahu has many meanings in Avastha, but today we will just consider two meanings. એમ તો તમે માઇન્ડફુલી યથાહુ વૈર્યો બનતા હો તો even the second word of યથાહુ વૈર્યો is Ahu. But that time, the meaning is not life, that is some other meaning. But Ahuna બે meaning which we will consider now is life, jindagi, and puru existence. So the word for life, our life, and the whole existence is the same, Ahu. That means our life is part of the whole existence. We are not anyway separate from the whole existence. What the planets are made of, what every creation in this world is made of, we are also made up of the same stuff, that same energy. So in a way we are all one, and that is what life's concept should be, that all one. Ahu as life, Ahu as existence. Now coming us to our own personal life, Ahu, that also we live at many levels. But three of the most practical and the most common levels are physical, mental and spiritual. We live physically, we live mentally and intellectually, and we have to think about spiritual also. Now because Hoshbam is the favorite prayer of most of us, તેની અંદર જ આ લાઈન આ થ્રીફોલ્ડ લેવલનો કોન્સેપ્ટ આવે છે. યથનો અંગમ શાતો મનાવ વહિષ્ઠો ઉરવાનો ખાત્રવૈથી તનવો આ તન વર્ડ આવે છે ને આ તન વર્ડ્સમાં આ તન લેવલ્સની વાત થાય છે કે our aim is this, our aim in life is this. What is the aim? First is ખાત્રવૈથી તનવો કે મારું તન ચલકાટ વાળું થાય. Now you will think that તન ચલકાટ વાળું કોણ? આપણે તો ખાલી સુન્નું પહેરે તરત ચલકીએ છીએ. Otherwise we don't shine. But no, there is a shine in us, glow in us, which our wise ancestors used to call Nurani. Noor એટલે light. So there is a glow, and if that glow is there, you are healthy. Because Khore, divine energy, is also connected to health. So તેથી અહીંયા હોશબામમાં કહ્યું છે ખાત્રવૈતિશ તનવો, a glowing body. Second is શાતો મનાવ. Manav you all know now. Manav is man, mind, and shato, happy. So mind, it should be your goal as far as possible to keep your mind happy. Many a times we say we feel helpless. શું કરીએ? ખરાબ thought આવ્યા જ કરે છે. અરે ખરાબ thought આવે તો તમારું કામ છે કે you have got some power over your mind. It's your mind. So how to handle it, we'll see. પણ માઇન્ડને હેપી રાખવાનું કામ બી આપણું છે, and that is our final goal. શાતો મનાવો. ને ફાઇનલી વહિષ્ઠો ઉરવાનો. ઉરવાન એટલે સોલ ને વહિષ્ઠ એટલે વહિષ્ઠ અહુ એટલે બેસ્ત, કે મારું રવાન બેસ્તી થાય. અરે 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 પાછી મરવાની વાત કીધી. આ મને તો મરવાની જ સાથે કે કામ છે. But no, you have to think like that. Life and death has to be a part of the one thing. You should not feel, many a times when we talk in the house also, મરણને વાસ્તે, આપણા પોતાના ડેથને વાસ્તે કે કોઈના ડેથને વાસ્તે, અરે નહીં, એવી અવર જેવી વાત ના કર. Don't talk like this, don't act like this. We don't like to talk about death. We don't like to think about death. But no, that is wrong. Don't take me wrong. You don't have to invite death. We have to keep our death as much far away as possible. That way we have to keep death away. But that does not mean we should not think about it. We should not invite it. We should not say, "Mane jaldi mari jau." No, we have to daregam darego jitim. Longest of long life જીવવાની છે. But that does not mean that death is not inevitable. Death is inevitable. તે ખ્યાલ રાખીને લાંબામાં લાંબી જિંદગીનો goal રાખવાનો છે. So now, to put things into perspective once again, to understand life and death, we have to understand that there is a great importance given to time in our religion. We have discussed about this before, but we'll discuss again. There are two types of time, T-I-M-E, time. Time એટલે વખત. One is endless time, which was always there and always will be there. And second is created time. Life and death is there because created time is there. But immortality of the soul is there because endless time is there. So our soul is part of endless time. But this life is part of Darego Khadat. That is the created time. So when you put this into perspective, you'll realize that life and death is a part of a very bigger picture. And we have all seen about the creation story, that God created time out of endless time. He created creations out of spiritual light, energy, Anagra Rocha, and all of us. That's why I said in the beginning, Ahu and Ahu is the same. We all have been created from that endless light. So we are all part of that. And then Pelvi book, Bunda Ishna is almost fully, the beginning part is about that how God, how the world has been created into 4 parts. And allegorically, it is called 12,000 years. We have seen this before. And they are divided into Bunda Ishna and Gumez Ishna. Bunda Ishna means creation period, and Gumez Ishna means the mixture period. There are 2 Bunda Ishna period. There are 2 creation period. The first period generally deals with the spiritual creations. The second Bunda Ishna deals with material creations. Then the third third Gumez Ishna deals with the entry of Ahriman into the material creations, which is all part of God's big plan. But at that time, good is still better, higher, and evil dabaયેલું છે. At the end of this third period, ઝરથોસ્ટ્રાઇપનું આગમન થાય છે, એમ આપણને કહેવામાં આવેલું છે. ઝરથોસ્ટ્રાઇપ comes because evil is going higher. And the last 3,000 years, which is again Gumez Ishna, mixture, at that time, evil will be at its height. But at the end of it, both will be separated. And at the end of that period, we call what it is, Visarishna. Separation thase. And then, there will be no physical world. Our souls will be once again in the endless time, immortal. So, that way we have to see. So, when we talk of life, we have to think of eternal life, not physical life. Our life is eternal life, not physical life. તમને આપણે પૂછીએ કે what is the opposite of death? What will be your immediate answer? Life. Yeah, but the obvious answer should be birth. The correct answer should be birth. Life is not the opposite of death. Birth is the opposite of death. Because birth વખતે આપણે physical body લઈએ જ. Of course, conception વખતે, but we can't say conception, so that's why we are saying birth. Birth and death વખતે we are leaving the physical body. Our soul has always been there. So in this timeline of the eternal life, let us see that there is first endless time, તેમાં created time આવ્યો, તેમાં spiritual world આવ્યું, તે spiritual world માં આપણું soul આવ્યું. Our soul was there in the spiritual world. Then came the material world. And our soul took birth and has a life in this world. Then comes our death. And then our soul will once again leave this world and go to a spiritual world. And then in that spiritual world also it has some purpose it will fulfill. And then finally it will reach Garothman. That is the highest heaven. And then finally it will go into endless light. So this is the full timeline of the soul. So we have a vast life. And we have to consider, if you consider yourself as soul and not just a body, then you will always have to think that my life does not start with birth and end with death. My life is eternal. It starts much, much, much before my birth and it will go on much, much, much after my death. So, આપણે અમ્માયરસ્ય પ્રેય બન્યા છે. We have seen the meaning of અમ્માયરસ્ય before. But you see, અમ્માયરસ્ય starts with life. અમ્માયરસ્ય કરણસ્ય અમ્માય તન્વો, તનુ, body થી આપણે start કરીએ છીએ. અમ્માય તન્વો વસદવરે, અમ્માય તન્વો વસદરે, પછી life, society, family બધું વાત કરીએ છીએ. ને છેલ્લે કાં જઈએ? અમ્માય વૈષ્ણ્ય મૌ મશોનામ રોચંગ્યમ વિશ્વખાત્ર. So we start with the body in અમ્માયરસ્ય, energy first. અમ્માયરસ્ય ખરેનસ્ય means energy, body, family, ફર્ઝંદાન બધું, prosperity, everything. Finally, Vaishtemam, heaven. So in that short prayer also, you are giving this full timeline. Right from Ammayrascha Kharenascha, the endless time, to Ammay Vaishtemam Ashonam. So that shows us that what our religion wants us to think. નહીં તો ખાલી તનની જ વાત કરતે આપણે કે તનને સારું રાખો, પણ નહીં, આપણે તન ને રવાન બેવની હંમેશા કેતે બી વાત કરીએ છીએ. So second, these are pointers from which we learn. Second, you must all be knowing who was the first man. Gayomad. But what is the avastha word for Gayomad? Gaya Maretan. Gaya Maretan is the name, avastha name for Gayomad. Now what does Gaya Maretan means? Life and death. Gaya Maretan. Gaya means life and Marta means mort, death. So even the first man જ્યારે બનાવ્યું હતું, આપણા રિલિજનનું વિઝડમ જો ગયોમડનું નામ આપ્યું, that itself means life and death. તારે કોઈને કચવાટ નહીં થયો, કરે ડેથ શું આપે નામ? No. Even for a human being, the word for a human being in avastha is mashya. And there are many avastan students over here. What is the literal meaning of mashya? What is the root in mashya? To die. Root mar to die. તે પરથી મશિયા આવ્યું. So even the word for man has the idea of death, mortality in it. So આપણે સૂંઘાવવાની જરૂર નથી ડેથની, because અગર જો ડેથ નહીં હોતે તો ગોડનો પ્લાન નહીં ફુલફિલ થતે. God's plan would not have been fulfilled if death was not there. That's why we have an allegorical story that Zarathustra himself asked Ahura Mazda that can I be exempt from death? Because he was thinking that if I go away, then who will control evil? Who will look after all these things? So Ahura Mazda says, no, you have put things into motion. If I exempt you from death, then the whole world will not be come to an end as per the plan. And that's why death is necessary. It's part of the plan of God. So now when we are living life, we fret and fume about most things. Okay, it is understandable, most of us are not happy all the time or most of the time. But once we have to think that when things happen in our life, there are many factors in it. The most important factor is ourselves. What we have done in the past. That is why I am here today and doing what I am doing. Taking of responsibility. Many people just blame it on the last birth. Okay, whatever I am, last birth nu che. That is not taking responsibility of your life. What you did in your life. What you have done. We sometimes don't even remember what we did yesterday. So forget remembering what we did immediately after we were born, when we were 5, when we were 10, when we were 15, when we were 20, 25, 30. No, we can't remember. But what we are reaping today is what was done in the past. So one aspect of life is our own responsibility. If you are happy with believing in reincarnation, well and good. But then also it is your responsibility. Don't say કે નહીં ગયા જન્મમાં થયેલું તો મારી responsibility. So second thing is something called bhakta or destiny. આપણે મહાભક્તાર બનીએ છીએ. Mahabhaktar means the giver of destiny. So destiny does have a part in our religion. Luck, we loosely call it luck. But something that is apportioned for us. Something that is destined for us. Of course, we have free will also. It's a very tricky situation. It's very tricky. Many people ask, is there free will or destiny? Like as if these two are opposites. Okay, what is life? Is it free will or destiny? It's both. It's both woven around so beautifully that you won't realize. But you are liable to change parts of your destiny, not all. But you are liable to change destiny by your behavior, by your life, by your attitudes, by your prayer, by your righteousness. Yes, you have a handle on it. But you can't totally overturn it. જરા ગાડી એમ જતી હોય તો જરા એમ થઈને એમ જઈ શકશે. If your car is going like that, there are bumps, but you have to go there. you can move the destiny around to a certain extent and then move ahead. Okay? But you can't totally change your destiny. So that's why, and we don't know exactly શું destiny છે, otherwise we will lose our interest in life. We'll lose the will to do anything in life. So that's why God has wisely kept it that way. So that's why 3 things determine our life. Our destiny, bhakt, our past karma, and by karma I don't mean past karma means past lives. Past karma means yesterday, day before, last year, 10 years before. All that we did comes to us. We are carrying everything with us today. So that, and what you are doing today, just now, because that will become your future. What you are doing today will become your future. What you did in the past is your present. So we have to take responsibility for that. Okay, what I am today is that, and of course I'll try my best to change it. Our religion doesn't say कि जे છે તે બસ સહન કર્યા કરો જિંદગી, because આજ મારું નસીબ છે, આજ મારી કિસ્મત છે, મારી તો કિસ્મત ફૂટેલી છે, હું શું કરું? No, that's not part of the Zoroastrian thinking. Zoroastrian thinking is, yes, it is there because of several factors. Partly I am responsible, and I am also responsible for changing it. So take things in your hands. Have faith in God and move ahead. So the most important thing over here is taking responsibility and changing our perspective to life. Changing our perspective to life. Now, there are some guidelines which most of us know because WhatsApp has taught us everything today. So there is hardly anything that is left for me to say, but still there are certain guidelines to life. So one is, we are used to, મેં હમણાં જ કહ્યું તેમ, to live a conditioned life. કે અરે આ તો મારું નસીબ છે, આ તો મારી કિસ્મત જ છે ને ફૂટેલી છે ને all that. No, don't get conditioned. Nothing is conditioned. We should not even take injustice. Our religion tells us to even fight injustice. And that means even included in our house from our own people. Injustice does not only mean કે કોર્ટમાં જઈને justice માગો, કે રસ્તા પર જઈને ધરણા કરો. No, injustice means whatever is going on in the house. But we generally give our life in the hand of others in many ways. We give our life to others in many ways. One of it is, we are so conscious of what others are thinking about us, of what others are speaking about us, of what other people's opinion will be of me, that we forget to live our own life by our own way. We are not true to ourselves. So that needs to be changed if you want life in your hands, because that does not mean you will not be unhappy. We will be unhappy, but you will not be unhappy about your unhappiness. You will say, okay, this is it, I am ready to face it. And that sort of a energy will be there, that sort of a confidence will be there. So, મને બી એવું હતું, even I had this thing, all of us have, that what people will say, શું થશે, શું નહીં, and you have to decondition yourself out of this. So I had made a small, this thing, acronym, DTWOTOY. DTWOTOY. Don't think of other, don't think what others think of you. Don't think what others thinks of you. તે જો તમે થોડું ઘણું ઓછું કરી શકશો, if you are able to lessen that, we may not be able to totally remove that because we are living in a society, but it should not get out of proportion. It should not get out of proportion, otherwise we will live our life based on that almost entirely. So if there is a need, we have to confront situation, confront people. If somebody does injustice to you, try to stand up, have courage to do that. Because Christianity tells you, or at least I have read that give your other cheek if somebody slaps you on one cheek. We Zoroastrians don't need to do that. Need be, slap back. But don't take the second slap at least. If one slap is there, enough for you, you know what to do now. Second and most important thing, once again, this is lots on the internet just now, but we need to get it in our life, is to have a purpose in life. Every morning when we get up, everybody has a purpose. Nobody is born without a purpose. The law of Asha, our own, I've told you many times. There are two types of Asha. One is one's life purpose and one is a divine purpose. And our personal life purpose should fit in that bigger picture. So, you find your own purpose. And it should not be great. It should be to keep your house very clean. It should be to try and get your children the best grades in the school. It should be something, and it may change from age to age, time to time. But there has to be at least one purpose about which you are passionate. And there has been a study, there's a wonderful documentary on Netflix. There's been a study of people who live up to 100 and more. And two of these places have got a common factor. Sorry. Okay, so what we were talking about is that we need to have a purpose in life, and there are two words in totally different localities which say the same thing. In Okinawa in Japan, they call it ikigai, and this I have read at several places on the internet, and this is a very popular word. Ikigai. Ikigai means life's purpose. But thousands of miles away, there is a place called Nicoya in Costa Rica, where there is the same phrase. They call it plan de vida in Spanish language. And that also means life's purpose. And these are centurions. These are people who live generally at least more than 80 years and even more than 100 years also. So a person has tried to find out what are the factors. And at two different places it's found this common factor. But I have not taken this point just now. If you see my notes of 10 years ago, because I had taken this up as a workshop, one-day workshop in 2013. Roxanne will remember that at least. So at that time also this point was there, that there has to be a purpose in life. Plan de vida. Spanish word is, it's at a place called Nicoya. So then what should we do? How should we live our life? Simple. You have to be aware of certain things. One of the interpretations of the word Amardan, our seventh Ameshaspan, is to be aware of things that you generally don't see. And in life, we have to be aware of those things. And generally, I have put down 7 of such things. They are, first of all, divine presence in our life. Divine presence in our life means our life itself is divine. We are connected to God, Aura Mazda. We are connected to our Ameshaspans and Yazats. Within us we have divine things. We have our soul. We have our Pravashi. We have wonderful faculties God has given us. So we are also divine in a way. So you are part of the divine plan. So that you have to always be aware that you are a part of the divine. And there is divine presence in life. Only thing is, you have to bring it in. You have to welcome it. You have to let it in. Secondly, that there are several human faculties, and I won't go into them because we have dealt with them. There are several human faculties within us that you try to realize them and tap them. Thirdly, most importantly, health. Always be aware of your health. In fact, તમે કેમ હમણાં બેઠા જ તેનું બી awareness હોવું જોઈએ. How you are sitting, how you are standing, how you are eating. So health no awareness is very necessary for our own sake. I know you are not children, so I feel bad telling you all this, but this is something that needs retelling. So there are 7 keys to health, which we should always keep in mind. And that will ensure a good health and ensure that we push away death as far as possible. Then we have to always be aware of our mind. As I said, માઇન્ડ ઇઝ ધેર તો આપણે છીએ. માઇન્ડમાં બેડ થોટ્સ બી આવશે, ગુડ થોટ્સ બી આવશે. માઇન્ડમાં તમે આખી લાઈફનો પ્લાન કરશો. માઇન્ડમાં તમે હમણાં શું કરવાનું તે ભૂલી જશો. મેની થિંગ્સ વિલ હેપન ઇન યોર માઇન્ડ, બટ યુ હેવ ટુ રિસ્પેક્ટ યોર માઇન્ડ. એન્ડ ફર્સ્ટ, મોસ્ટ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ ઓલ, પ્લીઝ, nobody of us has a right to say કે બુદ્ધો થઈ ગયો તેથી માઇન્ડ નથી ચાલતું. That is something which is totally wrong to say. That is insulting your mind. It does not happen that way. The more you use it, it will work. But the way, like how we grow up playing toys. હું તો મોટો થઈ ગયો, ટોયસથી નહીં રમું. હું કેમ ટોયસથી રમું? હું મોટો થઈ ગયો. તેવી રીતના વિશે હવે હું મોટો થઈ ગયો, માઇન્ડ નહીં, મારું કામ નહીં કરશે. નો, but our mind, because we are telling this, it is listening. The mind is saying, ચાલ હું બી આરામ કરું. He is not wanting to use me. Why should I bother? So, possible છે થોડું ઘણું ડિમેન્શિયા આ તે આવતું જ હશે, પણ much of it is our doing also. પહેલેથી તમે માઇન્ડફુલ હશો તો તેવું નહીં થશે. You have a way with your mind also. You have a way to work with your mind also. Take task from it. If you stop using it, it will stop working. Many of us હું બધું ભૂલી જાઉં છું. અરે ફર્સ્ટ ને સેકન્ડ સ્ટેન્ડર્ડ નું બચ્ચું બી ભૂલી જાય છે, નહીં તો એ 100 માંથી 100 માર્ક્સ લાવતે એવરી ટાઈમ. It's because even a child is forgetting, he is not getting 100 marks. So ભૂલી જાઉં, forgetting is not the excuse. Now, as we start collecting years in our life, we also start collecting information. Now, as in a cupboard you keep putting in clothes, and one day it will be difficult for you to find where you have put the cloth. It's not the fault of the cupboard, it's not the fault of the clothes, it's not the fault of you, it's because there's too much stuff in it. And that's why it will take time to get out. So that is the reason sometimes we immediately don't get names, immediately don't remember things. Don't find fault with your mind, respect it. Aging is the thing which will come. It's God's plan. But don't encourage it. Try to keep it off as much as possible by these things. And there are 7 such tips about health. Then energy. We have energy, physical as well as spiritual. Be mindful of that and be aware of that. And lastly and most importantly, we have to be aware of our death all the time. All the time be mindful that હું તો મનુષ્ય છું. Okay? You don't say હું man છું કે woman છું. I am a મનુષ્ય. I am one who is liable to death. We don't know when it will come, how it will come. It will come one day for all of us, for ourselves as well as our dear ones. So, important thing is to be ready for death.
When the death will come, how can we expect? Is there any way to expect?
No. If that is there, you have to expect, yes, my death will be now next minute. Next minute I may die. Yes, that's the best way to live. So you'll never do anything bad. You'll never do anything wrong. You'll never hate anybody. You'll never harm anybody. And in fact, there are many parables about it. Okay, what is the best teacher? And they say that death is the best teacher. Because I think I told you this parable before, that there was a very sinful king and nobody was able to improve him. Nobody was able to correct him. And then one sadhu says, okay, I'll correct him, don't worry. And he just spends 5 minutes with him and comes out, and the king becomes very good, very kind, very noble, very honest. And they are all surprised કે આ સાધુમાં કેટલો સ્પિરિચ્યુઅલ પાવર હશે કે એને કોઈ વર્ષો વેર નહીં કરી શક્યું ચેન્જ આ કિંગને, ત્યારે 5 મિનિટમાં એને ચેન્જ કરી નાખ્યો. પછી ઘણો વખત થયા અને પેલા સાધુને કહ્યું કે તમે શું મેજિક કીધું એવન સાથે? Like, I did not do any magic. I just told him you are going to die tomorrow. He said, you are going to die tomorrow. What are you doing? And that changed everything. એકદમ ભલો થઈ ગયો. પછી બીજા દિવસે સાધુને બોલાવ્યો, તું માર્યો નથી? નહીં, કઈ નહીં, આજે નહીં, પોસ્ટપોન થયો. તું મજાનો થયો છે ને? your death has been postponed to another day. So don't worry. પછી એક week થયું, I have not yet died. Don't worry, you are still getting good. So God is adding days to your life. And by that time, He had made goodness into a habit. And He started enjoying being good. So why be evil? So that's why, ક્યારે બી તમને evil થવાનું મન થાય, so just think, I may die anytime now. So death is one of the best teacher, and I think you got your answer. So death is, we are all going to die. Before death, we have to do two things: fulfill our purpose in life. As I said, you have to be mindful of your own purpose. Try to do that as much as possible. And there is a bigger purpose for all of us, and that purpose is Videvo Uratakesho, which we pray every time. Videvo Uratakesho is our bigger purpose in life. Always keeping away evil and always increasing good. So તે બે પર્પઝને વાસ્તે આપણે જન્મ્યા જ ને તે બે પર્પઝ પૂરા કરીને આપણે જવાનું છે. But Zoroastrian religion does not like unnatural death, untimely death. That is not for us. Why unnatural and untimely death is not good? Because it takes away one good person from the world. So we should not encourage unnatural death and untimely death. જેટલું આપણા હાથમાં હોય તેટલું we have to try and keep away death. And death is also called a triumph of evil. Death is also called a temporary triumph of evil. And why is that so? Because at the time of death, this beautiful body of ours, this wonderful body of us, this very helpful body of us suddenly becomes useless. Not only it becomes useless, it is taken over by Dhruji Nasu. Dhruji Nasu means the fiend of impurity, putrefaction, the demon of putrefaction. Dhruj etle demon, then Nasu, those who are senior over here, they must have surely heard the word Naso, ke Naso nahi karvano. If you cut your nails and put it everywhere, our grandparents used to say Naso kido. If you cut your hair and put it everywhere, it's like Naso kido. A dead body is a Naso. Means as soon as one dies, our beautiful, helpful body immediately is taken over by Naso, Dhruja Nasu. And gradually, it makes house into it. It will take some time. તેથી આપણે certain time where dead body ને touch કરી શકીએ, બધું કરી શકીએ. But after a certain point of time, touch નથી કરવાનું. That is because Dhruja Nasu is gradually taking over the body. Now, one lady just now only asked me before entering, that while we attend a Paidas at certain point of time, we are asked to either look down or turn our face away. That is also because now the dead body is Nasu, full of Nasu. And a static Nasu is okay. But when the Nasu is moving, it becomes very dangerous. And so at the time when the dead body is taken from the slabs and put into the Gehan, at that time the corpse is moving. So we have to turn our faces away so that the Dhruja Nasu does not enter our Ushtan, our breath. So we are taking precautions for that. Prayer is one precaution, but we are taking other precautions also. So after death, everything is Dhruja Nasu, our body has become useless. And so the attachment now should not be with the physical body. Now our focus and concentration should be on the Ravan, on the soul, and how to best see that the future life of the soul will be good. Of course, that soul will be of our person only. Rustam ji, Pestan ji, whoever it is. Alamai, Pilamai, tevannu soul, tevannu j rehse. Because we say in our prayers, Nam Cheste Anushe Ravan Ravani, the soul of wherein Jamshed ji, wherein Kharshed ji, either Yad Bad. So the soul will remain of that person, individual. This is another important thing. in Zoroastrian religion, as in the Hindu religion, they say કે બધા આત્મા છેલ્લે મળી જશે into Paramatma at the end. But our religion over here is different. It says that all the souls will maintain their individuality and remain as they are. So that is another story, and that we will talk about what happens after death, after the break. But one of the most important things, so don't consider death as something wrong or bad. Yes, it is something wrong or bad because we are losing our body, we are losing the physical presence, but think from the point of view of the soul. And that's why the word for death in Avastha is iristha. Iristha means passing away, flowing away. The word for death is passing away, flowing away. And similar words are there also in other languages. In Gujarati, what do we say? Gujri gaya. Gujri gaya means I dunya mathi peli dunya ma gujri gaya. English ma we say he passed away. Passed away from this world. We don't say that it has come to a cessation. It has the end. Now the movie is over. No, it is not the end. It is just passing away. So now the first part of this talk was about life. Now we will see about death and what will happen after death. Okay? Kersi bhai, your permission? Thank you very much. Aji?
We have to fortify ourselves with food.
Yes, definitely.
For the death,
Very good, very good. But again, food ni under Japanese no principle છે. One of the principle of the Japanese is, I don't remember the word, ikai buchi mu ke okay word છે, but that means eat only 80% of your satiation, hunger. So te yaad rakhjo. Thank you very much. Many people came later on that there were many questions coming into their mind. So we hope to finish this thing. I also know that some people may need to go to Farvardhyan. So I'll try and finish as soon as possible so that we can have question answer session after that. And if you have any questions in your mind, because something which is so close to us all the time, there will always be questions. I may not have all the answers, but I'll try to help wherever I can. So another thing about the soul which I was talking to you about, we in our prayers also, we always say Anoshe Ravan. Anoshe means immortal. We never refer to the soul as dead. Nam Chesti, Anushe Ravan, Ravani so and so. So Nam Chesti means individually. Why individually? Because I told you that we believe in individual souls even after death. So Nam Chesti means individually. I remember the Anoshe Ravan or the immortal soul, Ravani so and so. Now there is a question. નામ ચેસ્તી અનુષે રવાન, પછી રવાન ઈ means off ને પછી આપણે નામ બોલીએ. રવાન ઈ બેદિન જમશેદજી બેદિન ખરશેદજી. તો the soul of so and so. Now that's why this concept of reincarnation has been troubling us a lot, because some people do believe in it. Some people do believe in it since a long time. Some people are not clear about it. Some people are confused. So I would say don't worry at all. Whatever you are comfortable with, be. But see that your knowledge does not oppose something else. Knowledge has to be seamless. Knowledge, only then you will believe in it. So તમારું knowledge એવું હોવું જોઈએ કે તમારા જ બીજા knowledge સાથે તે ક્લેશ નહીં થવું જોઈએ. તે ખ્યાલ રાખજો. Now, as I said, we Zoroastrians in our text believe that life for the soul is a linear thing, means in a line. It does not go around in circles. That's why I said right from the beginning till an end, there is a line. And whatever we have done in this earth, in this world, however we have lived, that is important. Whether you are coming back or not is not important so much as how you are living this life. So let that, till you are convinced of either one thing, leave it to God, nature, whatever you want. But if you tell me that what I think, I very firmly believe that we don't need to come back. But many of you are followers of certain philosophies I know within the Zoroastrian religion. And these philosophy do tell you that no, there is reincarnation. It is there in our text and it is there in our scriptures also. So these things are academic aspects which have been debated. Okay? And 2 or 3 instances that they have tried to show where it is. I'm not running anybody down because there's nobody to debate with me just now. But those 2 or 3 instances that are shown, we can easily show that it is not what they are saying. So it is a matter of debate. But I'm not saying I am right, you are wrong, I am right, forget all that thing. Then what happens if you are good or bad? So that is what our religion is saying, that after death also there is progress in the other world. The spiritual world, also the soul keeps on progressing. It is not static because the final goal is Garotman. We Parsis have a way of saying, even ne Garotman base tojo. So, why do we say Garotman base tojo? Because we want them to reach that level, that final level. They may not have reached there. They may have reached there. If a soul has been very good, it may have already reached there. But our religion tells us that when that end of the time will come, by that time all souls may not have reached Garotman. And for such souls, a second judgment has been kept, which our religious books tell us. And what is that second judgment? That all the souls which are remaining at the lower levels, wherever, they'll have to pass a river to reach Garotman. And whichever level they are, if they are at a very low level, they'll feel the river to be very hot, like molten metal. If they are at higher levels, they'll feel the river to be very lukewarm milk, easily passable. But finally, the important thing is all will pass. Some with more discomfort, some with ease. But all will pass. And after that, all will be in Garotman. So that is a promise that we are given. Now, like just it sometimes comes to my mind, once again I'm saying I'm not debating, but if a soul has to keep on coming and going, when will that stop? When will that time to pass over come? If some souls are still here according to that philosophy. Because we say कि આપણું શરીર लागू तो पाप तो થવાના જ છે થોડા. Because our body has some desires, some inclinations, and totally you cannot annihilate the body. Annihilate the body till you are in this world. So some amount of these things will be there till you, if it says you have to keep on coming. So you take your decision. To be very honest with you, in the early parts of my studies of Zoroastrian religion, when I had only heard things, when I had not started studying things, and because those people who were around me did believe in reincarnation, so I was also believing in it. It's not that I did not at one point of time. But the more I read, the more I studied, the more I got convinced that no, it is not there. But still, I always take Gautam Buddha's approach, because Gautam Buddha is a parable chair. When somebody asks, do we have to come back or not? Though Buddhism totally believes in reincarnation. It also believes in transmigration of souls. But Buddha એ આઈને મેં કહ્યું કે યસ રીઇન્કાર્નેશન છે કે નહીં. બુદ્ધાએ કહ્યું in that parable, you concentrate on your life, the rest will take care of yourself. And that should be our approach till you are convinced. So don't let that bother you much. And once again, those souls which have passed over to the other world, we still are in connection with it. But we can't summon them. That is a big difference. We can't and should not summon them. Aao, mane વાત કરવી છે. Aao, mane પૂછવું છે. No. That has to be avoided at all cost. But when you remember them in your own way, lovingly, pleasantly, through prayers, through charities in their name, whatever, then they will respond. They themselves will come to us. They themselves will be present next to us if you can feel their presence. Because for them, space and time doesn't matter. ચંદ્રયાનને મૂન પર જતા અઠવાડિયાઓ થઈ ગયા. સોલને પેલી દુનિયામાંથી આવવાથી સેકન્ડ લાગે છે કે સેકન્ડ બી નહીં. Not even a second. So space and time does not matter in them. So whenever you remember them and whenever they feel that yes, we are now able to go, they will come, they will be with us, they will bless us like on their parva. એ લોકોનો માસીસો, છમસી, વર્ષી, મુક્તાદ, all those days, when you remember them, they are happy because they require being remembered. That is their only need. The only need of the souls who have passed away is that you remember them in a pleasant manner. Don't forget them in any way. તેથી આપણે બોલીએ જ આઈડર યાદ બાદ. મોહમ્મદ સાહેબ બોલે જ આઈડર યાદ બાદ. અમે તમને યાદ કરીએ છીએ. પણ અમે તમને કમાન્ડ કરીએ જ, સમન કરીએ છીએ એમ નથી કહેતા. અમે તમને યાદ કરીએ જ. તમારી ઈચ્છા હોય તો અમને આવો બ્લેસિંગ આપો, ત્યાંથી આપો, અહીંયાથી આપો. Because time and space once again is no constraint for them. Haji. Transmigration is a Jains and Buddhists believe that the soul also goes into other animals, in other creations, even in a worm or an ant or an animal. Whereas those who just believe in reincarnation, they believe that it only goes to another human being. So once again, in reincarnation also there are differences of opinion. So transmigration is going to another species. And another thing which our Vandidad is very clear about is mourning. Mourning after death. Mourning એટલે રુદન કરવું, બરાપો કરવો. You know, in the past, even among Zoroastrians, we used to have professional mourners. જેને હિન્દુઓ રૂડાલી કહે. So we Parsis also did that until at one point of time it was stopped by our Akabars about 150 to 200 years back. But we also invited professional mourners. So mourning is something totally out. We are told don't mourn because the person has lived a full and complete life. Now you should focus that after this transition they be happy. Mourning does not make them happy because they also feel attached. Now is not the time to be attached to this mundane world, to the physical world. Now is the time to go towards Garotman. So you should not unduly attract them by mourning. Because આપણે દુઃખી હોય તો શું એ લોકો હેપી હોય, એ લોકો બી દુઃખી થાય. So why should we be unhappy and make them unhappy? Let us be happy and make them happy. Many people think નહીં આપણે કેમ મજા કરીએ. એ લોકો સોચશે કે અરે હું ગુજરી ગયો ને એ લોકો મજા કરે છે. અરે ભાઈ souls એટલા selfish નથી હોતા આપણા માણસો જેવા. They have reason about that. They don't think કે નહીં, they want કે my near ones enjoy life, celebrate. They don't want કે નહીં નહીં હું નથી તો એ લોકો બી નહીં કરવાનું. No, that's not their idea. So like that, we have to pleasantly remember the soul and let them come whenever they want to come and let them advance whenever they want to advance, but keep on remembering them. In one of the questions in our text, it is asked, how long should I remember my parents and my grandparents and my siblings? And the answer is all your life. But there they are not saying kriyakam karao. See, these two are different things. You yourself pray. Kriyakam, of course, till certain time when you have to do it, you have to get it done because rituals are also an essential part. But remembering them all through life, your parents and your grandparents and your siblings is a sort of a duty put on every human being who is alive over here. So these are the things that we should know about the souls of the departed ones, that we also can be at peace and they also can be at peace. Haji Utosh.
There is no cap के आटला बरस बनावनो, minimum, maximum.
Yes. See, many people, this question is very often asked, how long should we get things prayed? Now, you know, as time passes, this period also changes for practical reasons. Once upon a time, there was a time when in the house prayers were done. The senior member of the family would keep everything ready in the house. The Mobitsa would come, pray and go away. And in that scenario, people used to have prayers done for several years. But then several factors come in: time, how much time we have, finance, and all such things. So say about 70, 80 years, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, I used to hear that from 20 they have come to 12 years. The Tare, before that, like say 70, 80 years ago, people had a belief कि नहीं 20 वारसवर बनावा. Though it is not written anywhere, it is oral tradition. Then about 50 years back, they said around 12 years. Now we say about 5 years is good enough. If you can do it, there is no bar to it. You can have it done for 100 years, if it's possible. There is no bar to it. But you have to see कि मोबिडो पर undue pressure નથી આવતું કે family na finances पर undue pressure નથી આવતું કે. There were times when people used to go in debt to have prayers done. Poor people, rural people used to go into huge debts. So they was told not to do that. So in that way, in today's day and time, we say 5 years is good enough. 1 year is necessary. 1 year is necessary. But 5 years is good enough. Then there is no cap to it. I'll tell you one thing. My teacher, my predecessor at the madrasa, Rustamji Panthaki, if he was alive, he would be about 115 years now. He used to talk to us about his father. So just imagine how much long back that must have been. So he used to tell us that Evanna Babaji, Naswanji, when he was to pass away, like you know, people generally, especially those who are a bit evolved, they would know that yes, my time is nearing now. My time has come. So he said there were many, by the grace of God, many sons he had. All of them Athornans, Erwards. So he called and tell them to see, after I die, have my prayers done only for 1 year. Because we are Mobits. We have to set a precedent. If you have my prayer done for long, and if you tell others not to have it done for long, it is not the right thing. So I am telling you, you don't have to feel bad about it. Before going, I am telling you that have my prayers done for 1 year, have my prayers until Dasma and then Masiso and then 1 year. Of course, then it was up to the sons to decide how long to do, how much to do, when to do. That was up to them. But Rustamji always used to say કે એમના બાવા બહુ જ ફાર સાઇટેડ હતા. દરેક ચીજમાં બહુ જ ફાર સાઇટેડ હતા. ઇવન નારગોલ ગામના પંથકી જેવા હતા. And he used to give him several such pearls of wisdom which were passed on to us. ફરજ નહીં આપી. ફરજ નહીં આપી. તેથી તો આપણે જિંદે રવાનું કરાવી જતા. ઓકે, so let us proceed. હાજી.
પણ આપણે ફાસ્ટ નહીં પડી શકીએ તો વિધાઉટ ફાસ્ટ ચાલે એમાં પ્રમાણમાં
See, a very simple answer to that is કે અગિયારીમાં સોંપી દેવાનું. See, there are many types of અગિયારીસ. There are અગિયારીસ who are very busy, એ લોકોને એક ચીજ કરવાની ફુરસદ નથી. And there are અગિયારીસ where they have time and manpower. So you find out such an અગિયારી and request them to do the batch. અગિયારીમાં કરાવવાની. Another option is, એક સેકન્ડ, another option is કે આમાં અંજુમનમાં નામ આપી દો. તમારી અગિયારી નેક્સ્ટ ડોર નિયર બાય અગિયારી હોય તેમાં આમાં અંજુમનમાં બી નામ આપી દેશો તો ઇટ ઇઝ ઓકે. I do the same thing. I do Afargan Faroxi Satum at home and I request the Agyari to do the batch. Yeah, of course. Haji. See, in today's day and time, demand and supply no kaido challenge. Demand and supply no kaido challenge. People keep on changing for different reasons. So, नहीं बनी सका है तो तमें पोते जाइने ता फरवर्डिनियर्स बनी लो के फरोक्सी बनी जाओ जो अग्यारी ना के तो जो तो फरोक्सी बनो तो इट इज बेटर. पण जो अग्यारी ની આગળ સગવડ નહીં હોય, મોબેદો નહીં હોય તો પછીથી you yourself, if it is possible, go and stay there. और घेरे भी करशो तो इट इज ओके ने तो जઈને પગે પડી દેવું. અગિયારીમાં બી બની લે તો there is no harm to it. પણ તે તો જઈને because you are more attached to that place because your dear one has passed away from there, so that is why it is there. પણ I know કે આજના વખતમાં ઘણા અગિયારીઓ ના કે છે.
What is the significance of Zinde Ravan?
Zinde Ravan are rituals performed, especially 4-day rituals, in advance, just in case after death there is nobody to have the ritual performed. So Zinde Ravan is an insurance policy that you take if you are sure or almost sure that nobody will get your rituals performed. But if you have done Zinde Ravan and still you are lucky enough to have somebody do it for you later on, no harm for that.
Anytime anybody can do it.
One gentleman asked me, શું રોજ પકડું? मैं कहूँ કે ભાઈ આપણો રોજ તો આપણને જ નથી માલમ, તો રોજ તો કોઈ બી પકડીને કરાવી લેવું કરીને. મને કે ફરવર્ડિંગ રોજ પકડું? મેં કહું ફરવર્ડિંગ રોજ બિઝી રોજ છે, મોબેટ સાહેબો બહુ બિઝી હોય ફરવર્ડિંગ રોજે. So try and take any other day and get it done. The day is not so important as to get it done. And there was another gentleman. Okay, they are long stories. Okay, forget it. No, okay. So now we come to an important issue. Preparing for death. Do we prepare for death? આપણે તો વિચાર બી નથી કરતા. We don't even want to think about death. So forget preparation. Like we generally say કે એ છેલ્લી જર્ની છે આપણી. Our ancestors used to say that this is our last journey. So preparations have to be done for a journey. So the one preparation is when you live a good life. That is good enough preparation. But another thing that can be done is that at the point of death, some things happen to the soul. The soul is very scared, very fearful, very afraid, very insecure. Our soul, આપણું પોતાનું soul. જ્યારે આપણે મળશું ત્યારે થશે એવું. Definitely થશે. Then are you prepared for that moment? Because we know through several instances that will happen. So a soul, first of all, will review the whole life in a few seconds. Because as I said, time doesn't matter. Right from a toddler to today, everything will come before you. So there will be the review phase. Then secondly, provided the soul, that is you, are good or bad, there are some things will pass through your mind. Because by the time you die, you will be sure whether you are good or bad. And you will be honest also. Till you die, you may not be honest. Everybody will think, I am good, I am very good. But when the time of that will come, the soul will realize કે નહીં ભાઈ હું ગુડ હતો કે મેં નખોટ વાલ્યું. So that time at least the soul will be honest. So the soul will either be happy, satisfied and contented. And while happy, satisfied, contented, it will sing a line of the Gathas which says, Ushta Ammai Ya Ammai Ushta Kammai Che. Happy is he who makes others happy. This happens after the review. And if the soul realizes, that I wasted my life, so it will be sorrow, guilt, repentance and fear. These things will be the condition of the soul for the first 3 days and nights. Of course, it will be helped by Sarosh Azad and our prayers, the prayers of the living ones. It will help. So, we have to think about this also. Okay, when I will die, I have to be ready for this. Whether I will be happy, satisfied and contented soul, singing Ushta Ammai Ya Ammai Ushta Kammai Che, or whether I will be a sorrowful, guilty, repentant and fearful soul, saying Kam Nemoy Jam Kutra Nemoy Eni. Meaning, whither shall I go, what shall become of my soul? So, those thoughts, it can, once in a while, it is good to bring to your mind that this is going to happen to you. So, in a way, it is a preparation. Finally, we all know what happens after death. As I said, for first 3 days and nights, the soul is here. On the Chauramna Bamdat, the soul passes over from the material world to the spiritual world. Then the judgment takes place. Meher, Rashne, Sarosh, Ashtad Yazats will do the judgment. Then will come the time to cross over the Chinvatpul bridge, which is an allegorical bridge leading to the spiritual, from the material to the spiritual. Now, if the soul is evil or has done evil things in the past, it will realize that bhai manto dukhi thawanu chhe. So it would not want to go on the Chinvat bridge. So his own Daina, his own actions will come in the form of a wicked lady and drag the soul. But for that evil soul, the bridge will become razor sharp and the soul will fall down to hell. For a good soul, he is very happy that now he'll have a wonderful life. She also. Before him will come Daina, a beautiful lady, and take him over to the Chinvat bridge. The Chinvat bridge will open up broad and they will pass over to the other side. Now here also there is one stop called Hamestakan, the purgatory at the end of the bridge. So if the soul is not good enough to enter heaven, it will have to stay in the Hamestakan till it qualifies to go into heaven. A good soul will go, this is what is there in our religious texts. I am not saying this. So then there are stages to heaven which have got different names like Humat, Huk, Varsh, or Star Payak, Mahapayak, Khorshet Payak, and then Garotman finally. So our soul or the soul of our dear ones could be on anywhere, but from any stage they will keep progressing. Now when we have rituals done, it's not going to change their place. It's only make them happy to continue ahead. Our prayers, the purpose of our prayers is not to push them further somewhere from where their position is, but wherever they are and whatever they are working on, they'll be more happy to continue their journey. And so, wherever they are, they'll keep continuing till they'll reach Garotman. As I told you, if they don't reach Garotman, by the end of the time, that second judgment, the crossing of river will come when they enter Garotman. And then Garotman, when the physical world will come to an end, that Garotman will be part of, once again, endless light. So the world's purpose is now fully served. In the beginning, there was endless light, but static. God's plan was to be dynamic and have lots of spiritual beings. He knew that when he will have to do it, Ahriman will come in. Then he planned the material world to remove Ahriman. That is also done. And then we once again go back to endless light. But there will be no Ariman now. There will be no hunger, no fear, no disease, no death. Everything will be good. So that is what we are, pure souls. And we have to consider ourselves as pure souls which have become impure to a certain extent for some reason. But impurity does not mean we are evil. Impurity means we are succumbing sometimes, which as human beings we do succumb to. But then, as is very wisely said in all our prayers, Hamazor kam gunabat. May we always be less sinful. And Hamazor vash kerfe baat. May we always be having more good deeds. Kerfe etle good deeds. So, summing up, I have given some lines which can help remember what we have done today in the class. One is that the most important victory of life is to conquer the fear of death. We should not fear death. That is the last thing you can do. Understand death. Accept death. Don't invite it. Don't ask for it. One question that was asked was, okay, if somebody is grieving a lot, not grieving, suffering a lot, health-wise, and like all the vital functions of the body has stopped or ceased, what to do? Is it okay if we ask for the death of the person? Now, we generally have that thought that what happens, that some small thing is pending for which they are not able to pass, and that once that small thing happens, we don't know what it could be, but once that small thing happens, they are able to pass away. So our ancestors in their wisdom said that when something like this is happening, this also I learned from Rustamji, that have chokha or gaun, that is wheat or rice, in a plate, make that person touch that plate of that wheat or rice. You just pray one Hashem vow while that is being done, and then you give it to some poor or needy person, anybody. So that whatever small little give and take might be remaining may get over and the person may pass away, proceed. But then finally at such time, we need to leave it to the wisdom of God. Because we don't know whether that person has to die. Apune lage ke bucharo bahut suffer thai, but once again you have to leave that to God's wisdom also. Because sometimes the people who are around are also suffering. The people who's ill is also suffering. But then that suffering has to be endured in some way. We can do some things, like as I said, our ancestors used to do such things. They also used to say the tandarasti of the person who is ill and suffering and is not passing away. And people ask, why tandarasti? Tandarasti to tame jivani dua mago. Of course, jivani dua maage. But death nahi aavti hoy te bhi, we are asking for energy over you. Tandarasti prayer ma, the first thing we are asking is khore angal. So when divine energy એવી રીતના આવે કે એવનનું જે બી થવાનું હોય તે થાય properly ને even suffer નહીં થાય તેવી દુઆ કરી શકીએ આપણે. But of course, as I said, untimely death. Jamshedjiએ શું પૂછેલો question? Long drawn death. Long drawn death means some people are ill for a very long time. Some people die ચટને પર. આપણે in ગુજરાતી વિશે ચાલતા ને હલતા. Some people unfortunately are on the bed for years together. So we don't know what these things are. These questions perhaps we may never be able to answer. But we have to take the best case scenario and move ahead from there. Okay? So live as if you were to die tomorrow. That I told you already. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Die as if you have lived forever. Yes, when your moment comes to die, and if you are fortunate enough to know, there's nothing wrong in that. Fortunate enough to know, okay, now my time has come. Contentment thi, shanti thi. So, you should feel that I have lived forever. I have done my best. Whatever time I had given is enough. Many people say, is one life enough? In one life, are we able to do everything? So our answer is that one lifetime is a big time. Otherwise, 100 lifetime also will become less. Because you can't experience everything in 100 lifetimes also. But you are not supposed to experience everything in life. You are supposed to live a good life, do good, and be against negatives. That's all. And for that, whatever life God has given us will be enough. So with that one life, we move ahead. And last, most importantly, learn to live. The second important thing is let live. We don't let others live. We become so critical, so judgmental, so pulling people down, so thinking about others that we don't let others live. So we should try our best not to do that. Live fully, let others live, and then also learn to live. L-E-A-V-E. So live, let live, and live. Okay, with this, I think people need to go. For those who want to sit, I will just, who are not in a hurry, I have this poem called A Psalm of Life by Longfellow. It is one of my favorite poems. Now, all the lessons of life and death that we discussed are in this poem. So this is a universal thing. This, whatever we talked about, of course Zoroastrian religion is telling us that. But Longfellow, Henry Wordsworth Longfellow, 200 years ago almost, wrote this poem. And if you have time, you sit through. For those who need to live, may live. Huh? It's how life you live. There is no timeline. If you have lived a good life, immediately after death, Chandrayaan માં બેસીને ગરતમાં. પણ good life નહીં હોય તો ઠુસુક good strain. And in between also. Bye. Train and a slow train, what is it? So I said it is simple. Slow train stops at all stations. And fast train does not stop at all stations. But at that time they used to say, no, slow train stops in between all stations. And fast train stops at all stations. Okay, so whatever, there's a beautiful poem, we'll read it. As I said, it was written almost 200 years back in 1838. It was first published in 1838. A Psalm of Life. You'll find it on internet. Tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream. For the soul is dead that slumbers, and things are not what they seem. There's so much depth in this. લોકો આખો રરિયા કરતા હોય. Everybody is always mourning about life, not happy about life. So that's why he's saying, tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream. Again, કઈ રહ્યું નથી, કઈ ભર્યું નથી, કઈ રહ્યું નથી, કઈ ભર્યું નથી. So that is it. Parsis say that. So here he's saying life is but an empty dream. Don't say that. For the soul is dead that slumbers. Means we have to awaken our soul while living. And things are not what they seem. Means don't jump to conclusions. What you see may not always be what it is. Life is real, life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal. Dust thou art, to dust returnest, was not spoken of the soul. So life is real, and it is infinite. Life is real, life is earnest, grave is not its goal. So that's what I just now said. Death is not the end. Grave is not its goal. Dust thou art, to dust returnest. This is a line from the Bible for a human being. કે તમારો body dustમાંથી આવ્યું ને dustમાં જાય. He is saying was not spoken of the soul. Because soul does not go there. Soul is going there. Not enjoyment and not sorrow is our destined end or way. Not enjoyment and not sorrow means our Zoroastrian religion tells us to live a balanced life. Not too much enjoyment, not too much sorrow. Somewhere in between. That's not our destiny. But to act that each tomorrow finds us farther than today. Evolving is the secret of life. So see how close this is to Zoroastrian religion and universal wisdom. Now, sorry, this is the line which I wanted to tell you, especially when I was telling you, be aware of death. All the time be aware of death. Here in this stanza, Longfellow is telling us to be aware of death. Art is long and time is fleeting. And our hearts, though stout and brave, still like muffled drums are beating funeral marches to the grave. So he is beautifully comparing our heartbeat to the sound of a drum which is marching towards grave, because if you go to see, every heartbeat of us is taking us near to death. It's one heartbeat less in our life. So that is why he is saying, be aware of your death. In the world's broad field of battle, in the bivouac of life, be not like dumb-driven cattle. Be a hero in the strife. Once again, what we discussed, બીજાઓ કે ને તમે કરો, બીજાઓ તમુને કમેન્ટ કરે ને તમે તે કરો, then you become a dumb-driven cattle. So be not like dumb-driven cattle. Be a hero in the strife. Means whenever you feel like acting, stand up and act. Otherwise you are no better than dumb-driven cattle. Trust no future, however pleasant. Let the dead past bury its dead. Act in the living present, heart within and God overhead. Beautiful lines, live in the present. Lives of great men all remind us we can make our life sublime. Here, that we have to achieve greatness, all of us, a purpose in life. And that purpose could be anything. Not always winning a Nobel Prize or a Paramveer Chakra. It could be any small thing. A smile from somebody. Lives of great men all remind us we can make our life sublime and departing leave behind us footprints in the sands of time. Footprints that perhaps another sailing over life's solemn main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother seeing shall take heart again. So કોઈને motivate કરી જાઓ. In your life, you can be a motivation for somebody in future also. You never know. Let us then be up and doing with a heart for any fate. Still achieving, still pursuing. Learn to labor and to wait. Learn to labor and to wait means patience. કુડાઈજી કંઈ કરતા નથી, કુડાઈજી કંઈ કરતા નથી. હું એટલું બધું કરું છું, પણ કુડાઈજી કંઈ કરતા નથી. So, તે લોકોને વાસ્તે લોંગફેલોએ કહ્યું જ, still achieving, still pursuing, learn to labor and to wait. A beautiful poem, you can read it every month, every year and still find something beautiful in it. Yes. Yeah, please.
It said that learn to wait. Start with learn to wait.
Learn to wait.
Learn to wait life's hardest lesson. On perchance through blinding tears, while the heart throbs sadly echo to the thread of passing years. Learn to wait, hope slow motion. Faint not though the way seems long. There is a joy in each condition. Hearts through suffering may grow strong. Thus the soul, untouched by sorrow, aims not for the higher state. Joy seeketh not a brighter morrow, only sad hearts love to wait.
Thank you. Thank you, Takshi, for sharing that. A psalm of life. Psalm. Psalm. Psalm is something sacred writing, you can say. Psalm is a sacred writing. A psalm of life. Okay, so with this, we also learn to labor and to wait. If suffering comes our way, face it with a smile and not forget that we are life eternal. All of us are life eternal, and this physical world is a very, very important part for us, but not the only one. Our eternal life is very long. There's a very important step in it from birth to death. We have to make the best of it because our journey afterwards will be decided on the basis of how we live from birth to death. Okay. There are some questions in this online. Nazin, you also had a question? Okay.
What are the meanings of the terms AT&T? फोन ले लें तो
I bet.
ओके मैं चली गई
The online question is, what are the meanings of the term Paityanti, Zazenti and Paiti Ayanti in the Gatha according to you? Who is this? Jaru. Karishma. Okay. Now, Karishma is asking this question, what is the meaning of the word Paityanti? Now, I told you that those who believe in reincarnation quote a Gathic verse. I did not tell you because I did not want to go into that depth. But they say, Paiti Urvano Paiti Yenti means the souls go back. Now, among the scholars, the word of avastha, root E, means to move. So the soul moves. Paiti generally means back. So the soul moves back. And then it says it goes to Drujo Demane. Then it goes to Drujo Demana. Now those people who believe in reincarnation, they say that in this Gathic stanza, they are showing that the soul is going back to earth. Because they interpret the word Drujo Demana as the earth. That is the most important difference. Now, we who have learnt Avastha, we know that Garo Demana apne kaurthi boli rehla che, Garotman, the Avastha word for that is Garonmana or Garo Demana. And Drujo Demana is its opposite. And I have got several references in the Avastha to show that Drujo Demana is implied to hell and not to the earth. But this group of people, they insist that this earth is Drujo Deman, means the house of evil. And that's why they say that the soul comes back to the Drujo Deman or goes back. Because I told you the soul falls down, means goes back. Okay, from Chinvat Bridge. So the word Paityanti Karishma means goes back or comes back, but it is not meaning to the earth. It is saying to Drujo Deman. And Drujo Deman, my clear interpretation is hell, as in the other world. And calling our beautiful earth Drujo Deman is not fair. Okay. So we bring this to an end. Thank you all very much for being patient. And next class is on 1st of October. Why? I know it's a big day. It's a Salgari of Surat and Navsari. Wadiaji. Surat ne 200 years. Okay. So if everybody does not mind, can we push it back by a week? Okay? Okay. 8મી આવશે. કોઈનું બર્થડે તો નથી? ઓકે. અરે તો જવાનું છે મને. બોલાવેલા છે. 8મી અમિતાભનું બર્થડે છે ખરેખર બી. હા, સારું થયું. હા? હા, 8મી. So is it okay with all of you? We have it on the second Sunday. All of you, please, 8th. Yeah, amazing. Mercy killing is a bit no. Mercy killing is a no. Because there are lots of ethical and personal issues also involved in that. It's a very big debate going on about mercy killing. But if you want one word answer, it is no. Big no. Big no. Why to get stressed? Stressed is the most useless thing in the world you can do. But but we can always take a session with the young children. Because તમે stress નહીં લેશો પણ youngsters લેશે તો શું? So yeah, I know youngsters, but the stress of course it's something you have to work through in life. If I say no, don't do this, it's not going to help. Okay, anybody first of all has to believe in something and then work towards it. Nothing comes easily unless you are ekdam blindly following somebody and take that somebody's word, because stress more or less comes automatically and you have to work towards it to change your whole mindset. Stress comes because of a certain mindset, and changing your mindset is not an easy thing. It's a very long drawn battle. You have to fight with yourself. That has to start. Whose soul? That we can't discuss just now. Dhansak time થઈ ગયેલો છે. And we can't discuss about, but it is an important question. I'm not just laughing it off, but you can't just discuss it just now. But they take much longer to progress. Because why? Why do they take long to progress? Simple answer, they repent a lot after that. In that moment, they take a wrong decision. And of course, that moment comes, there are many moments before which could have avoided that moment. So all those moments were not avoided for one reason or the other, and that's why that person has reached that moment. But in that moment, when the person takes that decision, unfortunate, its mind is not in its control at all. Otherwise, no person in a sane and sound mind would think of that. But unfortunately, some souls do take that decision. But when they've already lost their beautiful body, they are so repentant, you won't even imagine. And that's why their progress takes longer. And we have to be very sad about such souls. We have to try our best to help them and not wait till the last moment arrives. But we have to try and see the triggers and try to work on it much in the beginning. ચારમ પર ધનસાક ખાવાનું આપણા ધર્મમાં છે જ નહીં. Food lovers have started this trend. Now see, generally, traditionally, jokes aside, traditionally, dhansak was made from meat, mutton. Now, because of Druje Nasu being in the dead body, I told you that dead body ma Druje Nasu aave. ને પહેલે તો ઘેરમાં ઘણો વખત બોડી રહેતું હતું, હવે મોટો ભાગ ઘેરમાં નથી રહેતું, પણ ઘેરમાં ડેડ બોડી રહે. ને જે ઘેરમાં ડેડ બોડીને રાખેલું હોય તે ઘેરમાં પાછું પ્યોરિફાય થવાને વાસ્તે 72 hours લાગે. તે ઘેર ત્યાં સુધી ત્યાં મીટ કે ફ્લેશ કંઈ લઈ જવાનું નહીં હોય. 72 hours પછી એટલે ચોરમ થઈ જાય પછી તમે લાવી શકો, રાંધી શકો. That's why because this dhansak is a dish of mutton, so you can or may cook it and eat it. There is no hard and fast rule or compulsion for doing it. And vegetarians, of course, will never do it. Okay. આ તો કઈ નવું જ ટ્રેન્ડ છે ચોરમની પાર્ટી. It is one of the honestly most modern trends I've heard of. You invite people all over. Dara is saying even Chai Salamat Puki gaya. Chala. Sorry, Nilufa.
In Iran, one of the Afghanis that we have visited, they were suddenly expired. They almost ran and everything. We also like how this was and then we did a prayers and came out. They all were happy, rejoicing and laughing. So like it was a real. They actually were laughing and rejoicing on that.
Yeah, because see, for a life well lived, there is nothing to mourn. It is. I have written one of the points in my handout, I think, that we never celebrate death. આપણે માસીસો કરીએ તો આપણે we are not celebrating death. We are celebrating life. So, of course, we have to rejoice. Because, as I told you, they like that if we rejoice. They are not averse to our rejoicing. Of course, we may miss them. Sometimes emotionally આપણે વર્કઅપ થઈ જઈએ, યાદ આવે તો આંખમાંથી આંસુ ઓટોમેટિકલી નિકળી આવે, all because we are humans. So putting that human angle aside, there is no ban to enjoying and celebrating after death, and we never celebrate death, we celebrate life. Okay? Yeah, that was the original tradition, that in Iran they did not mourn death. ને મેં કહ્યું તેમ તમને વંડીદાટમાં તો ક્લિયર ઇન્સ્ટ્રક્શન છે કે મોર્નિંગ નહીં કરવાનું. કોઈ બચ્ચું ગુજરી જાય તો 10 દિવસ, કોઈ અંકલ આંટી ગુજરી જાય તો 20 દિવસ, પેરેન્ટ્સ ગુજરી જાય તો 6 મહિના મેક્સિમમ લિમિટ તેનાથી વધારે નહીં કરવાનું. ને યુ નો ધ મોસ્ટ ઇન્ટરેસ્ટિંગ પાર્ટ, જો તે માણસ તમને લાગે કે ઇવિલ હોય તો ડબલ મોર્નિંગ કરજો, ને ગુડ હોય તો અડધું મોર્નિંગ નહીં. ધીસ ઇઝ ધેર ઇન વંડીદાટ in chapter 12 or 13. રીઝન ઇઝ કે તે લોકોને વધારે જરૂર છે, એ લોકોને ઉપર જતા ઘણો વધારે વાર લાગવાનો છે, એ લોકોએ ઘણું વધારે ખરાબ કામ કીધેલું છે. જ્યારે સારા માણસનું તો સેલિબ્રેશન છે, તો સીધા હેવન તો જશે હેવનમાં, એટલે મોર્નિંગ શું કામ કરવાનું, પણ ખરાબ માણસને વાસ્તે મોર્નિંગ કરવું પડશે. Organ donation, the question we won't take just now because it's a long, very long thing. But if you want it in one line, it's a issue about thinking about another person in a sympathetic manner. From a religious point of view, organ donation, if you go to see all the, see, itla jaldi mein answer ho aaye bada basic philosophical nahi apaye. But if you go into the philosophy of the religion, organ donation is not advisable. In one line. Now we don't have the time to go into the philosophies. Okay, we bring an end. Sawa Vagiyo. Okay. So we say Tan Hashem Bhau. No more questions, please. Hashem Bahu Vaishtem Asi Ushta Asi
Pushta Ammai, Yad Ashai, Vaishtai Ashem, Ashem Vahu, Vaishten Asti, Pushta Asti, Pushta Ammai, Yad Ashai, Vaishtai Ashem, Ashem Vahu, Vaishten Asti, Pushta Asti, Pushta Ammai, Yad Ashai, Vaishtai Ashem.
Tandarosti Yazdan Panama. If you are interested, we'll take up the issue of organ donation in our next class because it requires time and explanation. So, in our next class, we'll take up this aspect.